Welcome to the Effin' John Show. Please remember to like and subscribe. Now here is Effin' John Joda.
Greetings, Earthlings. John Joda, how you doing today? Today's video is one that I have been in the process of making for years, literally years. And it requires a little bit of a story to tell you what happened. So, back in January of 2021, when we were all housebound from COVID, a movie came out. It was called Nomadland. And it featured the actress Frances McDormand. And it was only available on Hulu. It didn't come out in the theaters. And I watched it. And it was very good.
Storage underneath. I've got these storage drawers. One set in the front so I could get in them from the inside, and then another on the outside. Very smart. I thought so. You see that? This is my husband's old fishing box. I put this little latch on it, and then when I open it, the stop holds it and creates more counter space. And then I keep my really nice stuff inside. My dishes that my dad gave me, he collected these, Linda May, from yard sales. And when I graduated from high school, he gave me the whole set. Oh, isn't that great? Yeah, it's called Autumn Leaf. I don't have that many pieces with me, but you know.
What did you name your van?
Vanguard.
Oh, that is very strong.
If you don't know Frances McDormand, she was also in the movie Fargo. Another great movie. She won an Academy Award for that one. If you get a chance to watch it, you definitely should. Definitely well worth the time to look it over. But Nomadland, I watched it. Watched a lot of videos in those days. And it was about this woman and her husband had passed away. They lived in a fictional gypsum mining town in Nevada. And the factory, the mining company closed down operation. The town only existed because of the mining operation. So they lost their zip code. Her husband had passed away and she was trying to figure out what to do next. So she hit the road. She started driving around. She took some part-time jobs. She was in her 60s. And so she worked for Amazon, and then she was invited to visit this other place where she had a friend, Sue Ann, who encouraged her to live this way to save some money. And then she was invited to something called the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous with someone named Bob Wells. And I tell you all this stuff knowing now about all these people and this lifestyle, but honestly, when I watched the movie, I didn't know such a life existed. I was in a second marriage, which was struggling, and before the year was over, it would be over. And so, Nomadland is a movie I've watched many times. The first one was with disbelief, not believing that this was really how people lived. But I was fascinated by the movie. I was fascinated by the decisions that the main character named Fern had to make and the conclusion she came to. And when I did research after I've seen the movie, which I do that sometimes, I'll look things up afterwards, I discovered this was true. These were real people. Bob Wells is a real man. And he encourages and teaches people how to live a nomadic life. Nomadic. You live in your car. You don't have a permanent living situation. And I was fascinated by the whole concept. I was mostly fascinated by Fern because when you watch something, you apply the values you have in your own life to what you're watching. So when Fern turned down different opportunities to live in a house, to have a place to live, she rejected those. And as I'm older and wiser, a little wiser, I realized that different people make different choices. There are all kinds of people in the world, and I can't apply my values to everybody else's choices. It's a really big lesson to learn in life. It's part of respecting another person. But so the story goes, Fern went on her way and she takes on these part-time jobs and things, traveling around the country. She lives in her van, and at some point her van breaks down and she moves. She borrows some money from her sister, but she has to go visit her sister to get the money to fix her van. And the funny thing is that the sister invited her to stay with her. And Fern said, I can't live like this, and she had other opportunities along the way. All the traditional opportunities, of a caring person in her life who invited her to stay where he was. And to her, that she didn't see the value in it. She probably didn't see, in fairness, Fern didn't see others. She didn't give them the respect, just as they didn't give her the respect. So she could not relate to somebody who wanted to live in a regular home and have this boring, ordinary life. So she didn't relate to them either. But a constant character throughout the video is someone named Bob Wells. And he is part of a group called Home on Wheels Alliance, and the other people who put on this Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, which takes place in Quartzsite, Arizona every year in the winter. And they teach people these skills for living in a car, living in a tent, living in an RV. People live in a little bit of everything from this. So over the years, I've been fascinated by that. Keep in mind, this is 5 years ago that I saw this initially. And but I was always fascinated by the whole concept. Always. When at the time I was working as a banker in Arizona, and I remember thinking about how I'd like to have a simple life in the desert, but then I realized I did have a simple life in the desert. But it wasn't just a simple life. It was the freedom that you can have with this situation. I'm not saying it's completely free. I mean, certainly you have responsibility. You have to feed yourself at some point. But as far as that day-to-day pain of life, for these people, it seems a little nonsensical when you look at it. One thing I with the philosophies expressed, I don't always agree with all of it, because the very society and structure that is rejected by some people is what enables them to have that life. I mean, if you didn't have the commercial marketplace of Amazon and things, it would be an impossible way to live. But now if you look through Amazon, there are a lot of products that are targeted towards people like this. So that year, my wife from Ireland, she left, and there are some struggles over the next couple of years related to that. And one thing I find in common with the people that live in this lifestyle is loss. They've all had some kind of loss, and this is how they cope with that loss. All right, we'll try this again. I just recently recorded this, but somebody around here forgot to turn on the microphone. So, and let me tell you, what I recorded before was excellent. Sorry you missed it. We'll go back through it again, probably a little slower, because when I get excited, I talk faster. But I was going to talk a little bit more about Nomadland and Bob Wells. And like I said before, when I was done watching Nomadland and I started doing my research, I found out Bob Wells is a real guy and really did the things he did in the movie. And that was a shock to me. It's one of those things where there are many kinds of lives that people live in the world. And just because you live your life and you're content doesn't mean you understand anyone else's. But it feels good to understand people better. It also opens up the possibilities for yourself. So I'll tell you about some of the people I know on YouTube, and I'm sure a video of Bob interviewing Jeepsy. Wandering Jeepsy, and her real name is Sarah, and I followed her for quite a while, and she's one of my favorites. You'll hear her old story here in just a moment. She occasionally does live videos, which I enjoy those as well. You can text in the chat, and she's a very responsive person. If you comment on her videos, she likes your comments. She reads them. So that.
Oh. Welcome back to my next video. Today we're meeting Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
And this fabulous Jeep.
Love my Jeep.
I also love Jeeps. In fact, that's the only thing I really envy is people who can have a vehicle that can go really deep into the backcountry.
And it does.
Yes, that is built super well. Are those, the tire size is really one of the most important things on a Jeep. Are those 40s?
No, they're 37s.
37s.
37s. I wish I had 40s, but
Yeah.
for traveling, I can't have 40s. No.
Yeah, that's not a very practical size.
Yeah.
That's really too specialized.
Mhm.
37s is great.
Yeah.
So that's, most of you don't care about that, but in the Jeep world, that's a really big deal.
It is. Yeah.
Very big deal. And I love Jeeps. I love the idea of being in the backcountry. I bought my side-by-side as a easy way for me to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to be a minimalist to live in a Jeep.
Oh, yeah.
And so you are bare minimum in there.
And short.
And short, yes, that is also very helpful.
Very helpful.
Yeah. And so you must be full-time now, or are you part-time?
I am full-time. So I started traveling 17 months ago, and originally I was towing a 16-foot travel trailer behind my Jeep. And then September 1st, I decided to store my travel trailer and then just try traveling in just my Jeep. So I built out the inside of my Jeep and to live in, and it's a lot easier for me to just travel with the Jeep than it is with the trailer.
Right.
So a lot easier.
Right. And you're doing a rooftop tent?
That is a storage bag,
Storage
actually.
bag. Okay.
So I sleep on the inside. I don't do the rooftop tent because of the fact that I feel more safe and secure sleeping inside of my Jeep than I would in a tent.
I agree
on top,
completely.
so.
Yeah. Hard sides are always better.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a puppy, although
Mm-hmm.
hoisting her up there isn't all that hard.
Yeah.
A little bigger dog had become a big issue.
Oh, yeah.
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 And so a question I always ask everyone is why? Here you are wandering around in the backcountry in a Jeep, and so I think a lot of people want to know what brought you to that.
So I lived in Vegas for 16 years. The reason why I moved to Vegas originally is because at 30 years old, I had never met my father. So I hired a private investigator to find my father, met him at 30, moved to Vegas to get to know him and have a relationship with him. A few years ago, he was diagnosed with early stages of dementia. And so I moved him into the house with me and took care of him. And then because of his dementia, he wasn't, all there in the head and everything. So one night I came home and he shot and killed himself in front of me. And then after that, I lost my best friend to pancreatic cancer 2 months later. And so I sunk into a huge depression, and I had a really good job that I worked at for like 10 years in Vegas. And I kind of engulfed myself into work just to stay busy all the time. Yeah, for about a year and a half, it was just depression and working a lot and stuff. And then I took a trip to Sedona, Arizona one time, and I met this girl that was traveling in her 4Runner and living out of her 4Runner. And she told me the reason why she started doing it was because her brother committed suicide. And this was her therapy to go be with nature and stuff like that. And so it just clicked in my head, okay, maybe this is a sign. I'm a hiker. I used to be a rock climber. I love the outdoors, so turned in a 6-month notice to my job and planned it out for 6 months on how I was going to make it work, and just gave up everything and became homeless in my vehicle. And I have to say, in my 45 years, this is the happiest I've ever been, and it definitely has been my way of working through everything that I went through. So.
Of course, I have suicide in my family, and I can relate a little bit to what you've experienced, and it had a very profound effect on me also. Changed the course of my life. It
Yeah.
makes you stop and think: do you want to wait, or do you want to live now? And you've chosen to live now.
Yeah.
So that's very, very admirable.
I had to do something.
Yes.
I had to do something. So yeah.
It's easy to sink into that depression and just stay there. So I admire your courage. And so you're young still. You're not on Social Security or anything like that. So how are you supporting yourself?
I did have a savings, and when I left Vegas, but when I left Vegas, I just traveled full time and just enjoyed it for like 4 months, and then that savings started going down.
It does.
So yep. So I started picking up seasonal work camping jobs, and I did that for a little bit. But I started a YouTube channel a year ago, and when I started the YouTube channel, I started making income off of YouTube, my Patreon, my Instagram. So basically, that's what I'm doing now is I just make the money off my social media, and that's how I'm able to travel and live very minimalist.
Very minimalist.
Very minimalist, because I'm not getting rich off my YouTube yet. So, but yeah, so I just live extremely minimalist. So.
Right. Well, if you reduce your costs low enough, you don't need a lot to live on.
That's true.
So
yeah.
The two really go well together, almost require each other, that minimalist lifestyle. So that sounds really, really wonderful. And so folks, you should go check out her channel. I think you'll be really glad you did. Tell us all your channel.
So my YouTube is Wandering Jeepsy, but it's Jeepsy. And then my Instagram is the same thing. It's Wandering_Jeepsy. So
go check those out. You'll be really glad you did. And it's your channel's growing and supporting you on the road at your minimal lifestyle.
It is, yes.
That's really super.
Yeah, I'm very blessed for that.
Yes. People out there think it's easy. It's not easy. It's a job.
It is.
A full-time job.
Yes, it is. Yep. You have to do the filming. You have to do the editing. But I also look at it as it's a job I love too. So I'm getting to do what I love. So.
If you're in a bad place in your life, and I know from all the emails I've gotten over the years, many of you are, there's hope. There's a way forward. I believe this lifestyle, healing in nature is a big part of it. So check out Sarah's channel for that, and maybe even contact her through Instagram or YouTube or email. Did we give your email? Do you want to give your email?
My email is wanderinggypsy@yahoo.com. Yeah, yahoo.com.
That's nice too. Been watching her for a few years. She's an endearing personality. She has many people who care about her a lot, and she's surrounded by people, which is good. I mean, it's good because it's natural because that's how she is. She attracts lots of people. And she was in Quartzsite when I was there, and I did not go to meet her because she was very popular and there was going to be a long line, and I hate lines. It's like the worst thing in my life is lines, you know.
John Jonah, you could have came and said hi to me at my meet and greet and stuff. Come on. There were some times at the table I didn't have a lot of people there. You've been following my channel for a while too, so it would have been nice to meet you.
Right. I'd rather walk for 30 minutes than stand in line for 10. That's just me, I guess. But she was there, and I told her later in one of her chats that why I didn't go see her. She acknowledged me, and I appreciated that. She's a good person. So, and she's one that I see. Another one I follow. I used to follow. The first one I really followed a lot was someone named Lex and Riot. Riot was the name of her dog, and she'd had some tragedy in her own life, and she was dealing with it by hitting the road. And very, very inspiring person, talented person. I mean, I'm sure that she had a background somewhere in this video and production. I think she had a background in advertising. So she had a natural instinct for the video making content, stuff like that.
Do your intro before my channel.
Welcome back to my next video.
Okay, yeah, you're serious.
Yes. Hey everybody, it's Lex and Riot, and today we're gonna carpe diem like a motherfucker. You know what I mean. Before we get into it, I want to apologize if my attitude was a little ho-hum in my last video. Riot's paws are getting better, but that really had me bummed out and worried, and I was just feeling extra inadequate. I'm sure you've had a day where you just couldn't muster it, and maybe that simply wasn't the day to film, but it does give you a real good real life impression that not every day is sunshine, pancakes, and unicorn farts. As I mentioned in the last video that we're parked relatively close to Bob Wells. He came over and he said hi. He remembered me. That was cool. And he goes, oh, you know, what's new? I told him about my diesel heater and installing my own solar. Not that I did it well, and I was very explicit that it's not that I think I'm some sort of expert. But he asked if I wanted to do an update video, and I said yes. So in a little while, in about an hour, I am gonna hang out with Bob Wells again. And this is Riot, and for the past 6 months, we've lived in the bed of my truck. Pacific Ocean, which I have never been to. Of the truck along with our water. So after living a baker's dozen years in Chicago and owning a really successful business for the past 7 of that, I decided to follow my bliss, as Joseph Campbell recommends, and I sold or gave away most of my possessions and sold my business, and we are traveling. And I used to be an avid writer. Stories from the first 6 months that include an expensive repair on my truck on the first day that I got out, and a bear story in Montana, a grizzly bear story, which we narrowly escaped. So it's been an exciting adventure already. And I've met— Hey man, this is proof that I do bathe. Hey, I'm Lex, and this is Riot, and we are gonna welcome you to our house, which is a converted cargo trailer. Pulling the trailer with the 2016 Ford F-250, and it is a 2020 Cargo Craft off-road trailer. So it's a 6x12 trailer with two 3,500-pound torsion axles, which have electric brakes. It has 32-inch mud terrain tires and a black aluminum racing wheels to help me get back into the back country. It has insulated walls and insulated ceiling with a battery box, side vents, AC, and heat. It also has the ladder rack and the roof rack, so I will be installing solar once I have a better understanding of what I want and what I need. And now let's go inside and I'll show you what I did with it. So we have the RV double lock, we also have the cam bar, and then so no one tries to lock me in. And then we have this Genius battery setup, which I still have to fully figure out. But I do know that it charges on my alternator so that I can turn on the 4 LED puck lights. And that was nice. So it came pre-wired. It also has this safety fuse box. So the cord that would go, like if I hook up at an RV park or something like that, is in there, along with a fire extinguisher. Always got to be safe. And
And you're going to see a little bit of her here in this video as well. And there's another woman named Amanda, who I follow, Adventures with Amanda, and she's good. She's everybody's unique personality. That's almost like a requirement to be in this lifestyle, I think, is that you have to bring something unique to it. You don't have to.
It's just after 6 p.m. and Winston and I are in the van for the night. A gorgeous evening, actually. It really was a nice day. If it wasn't, well, it was a nice day. It was a nice day weather-wise. but I put away everything I had outside. Playpen, chair, ramp. That's all I took out, but I put them away when Winston was ready to get in the van because with 30-mile-per-hour winds tomorrow, everything's going to get dusty. We're not going to be outside anyways, and I don't want things blowing away. So I just decided to pack up everything and put it in the rooftop box tonight. And who knows, because it's supposed to be so windy and I don't have anything to pack up in terms of camp, I might just like go into Quartzsite tomorrow and do something. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. Y'all look. Well, it's hard to see. It's the Goodyear blimp because NASCAR is in town this weekend. Heading to Phoenix Raceway, yes.
But I think the people that are like that are the ones that gravitate to it. For the women who do the YouTube channels, the difficult part is that they have a lot of, you can't always pick who watches your video and who gets attached to you. And I think all of them have people who make them uncomfortable, make them scared, and that's very sad to me. Lex, when she was doing her videos at the beginning, she was very bold and confident, and I mean, spoke her mind clearly. And but as time went on, I saw that kind of fading back in her, and it kind of felt like, well, she had said at points she couldn't let people know where she was because there's some people who would want to do bad things to her, and that is the saddest thing I've ever heard of. I'm happy to say right now on her YouTube page, it says I've gone to have a private life. I'm very happy for her. This is a part of a journey. It's not a destination. People have their own reasons for coming and doing these things. And certainly at some point, there is an off-ramp. There is a place to go if that's where you get led. And I think it's not unusual for any of them. I'm sure there's probably more that have left than that do it. Of course, the movie made it popular, but there are a lot of people. A lot of people refer to this as van life. Now, I have a van, and I initially, when I went down to Quartzsite, I had bought a pop-up camper in Montana. I brought it down there with me. I enjoyed the solitude, even though there are a lot of people there. I went to an area called LTVA South, which is probably the most populated area down there. And people kind of make fun of it for that. But to me, I had the comfort of knowing people were around, but I didn't really interact with them much. So I felt like I was off on my own pace. But I think that's what people do. They find their own comfort in life. And I was comfortable, very happy there. Another one I follow is Matty Van Halen, calls himself.
Okay, we found a spot. Not that great, but it'll work for one night. This is out at the Buckeye BLM land. Never camped in this campsite before. Not my favorite, but, it will work fine for one night. Hey, Winston. It's been a busy day, but I got all my errands done, got my doctor's appointment done, got groceries done, dumped trash, got water. So I'm good to go. Time to travel for a while. And check Amanda's channel for her video today, and she will show you how we fixed her Beethoven 1500 watt-hour power station. This is it. She plugged in her solar, plugs in right there on an Anderson plug, and nothing happened. There was no wattage coming in. And we tried another panel, still nothing. Turns out I peered up in the port there, and it was just dirty, so I cleaned it out with a Q-tip and WD-40, and guess what? Fixed it. So the moral of the story is, if you have the same problem, check the input to make sure it's not just full of desert dust. And if it comes with a cover like that, keep it on there. Keep the dust out. So this is not a very good spot, but it'll do for one night. See, we got people all over the place out here. They're spread out, but so are the campsites. There's dedicated sites out here. It's not like you just pull off the road anywhere you want. So this is not the place we usually stay out here. It's over that way. And then we have another spot we stay right up by the front. But this will do. And it's free, so can't beat that. It's my favorite price. So when we get to Yuma, should be a lot of good, interesting things to show you there. Cannot wait. And the weather is supposed to be fantastic for an entire week. But I will say goodbye for now, and I will leave you with a jamming tune. Thanks for watching. Take care, be well, and smash the bell.
Himself, and obviously he travels around in a van. Recently he bought a casita trailer, but predominantly he's been in his van the whole time. But people do these things, and they have these YouTube videos. If you look up van life in YouTube, you're going to find hundreds, thousands of them. Another couple, Lady Fern, which I'm sure they were inspired by the prime character in Nomadland, Fern.
Is peak season in Quartzsite, and we're going to see how busy it is here in La Posa Tyson Wash. This is the one that's directly across the road from La Posa South. So we're going to pop up the drone and take you for a flight and see what you think. All right, here we go. Let's see how busy it is in La Posa Tyson Wash. See you up there.
Very nice people. I started following them before I went to Quartzsite because they did drone footage, and it was nice to see the lay of the land before I actually went down there. Very nice people, and again, good people kind of gravitate to this life, and I don't know if that means they're going to something or going away from something that makes them do it, but everybody has their own reasons, as do I. And so moving forward, I did sell my camper in Quartzsite, and I am in the process of building out my van. Not much of a build. I put a frame in there and a mattress, and I've acquired some things over time. One thing I did discover when I went to Quartzsite is electricity is very important. Bob used to do a lot of videos I couldn't necessarily relate to because I wasn't living the life, but I found myself going back and rewatching some things, especially about solar and batteries and power stations, and because they make a lot more sense now. That's one thing. All these people have provided information that now provide, resource for people to getting started, to learn what to do and what not to do. And just remember, even if you don't understand it when you first see it, you can go back to it when you were seeking that knowledge. And that happens a lot with Bob and the others as well. Bob is my primary, and Bob is kind of the guru in this. And I had the chance to meet him in Scottsdale, Arizona a few years ago. I went to a tiny home convention there and he was part of the promotion of it. But it was a rainy day, and so there weren't a lot of people there. And so I was able to meet him and get a picture taken with him and tell him about my hopes and dreams for van life. And it was a very nice meeting. Well, I finally have this one done. It's occupied my brain for a long time. So we'll get this done, and it may free me up to think of something else to do. Thank you for watching. You have a good day.
Thank you for watching the F and John Show. Click your notification bell so that you are notified of each future F and release.